Good morning. Welcome to New Gambia Media, where we provide you with updated news, civic engagement, and community empowerment. Today, our guest is Mohammed Hydra. Mohammed is the Secretary General of Gambian Environmental Alliance, and we're gonna be discussing about the plastic pollution and the coastal cleanup, and also the withdrawal of Americans from the Bigelow Park deal. So we want to engage our audience in this discussion. And again, this is an environmental discussion that is very important for our Gambian populace. So in the observation of World Environmental Day, that will be on Monday. So at the Gambia Maritime Administration and their partners, they conducted a quarterly coastal cleanup exercise yesterday along the coastline. Mohammed, we welcome you to the show, and I have my co-host here, Sam Sise from Indiana. Is driving, the man on the road. Welcome, Sam. And we also joined by Omar Jallo, who is one of our media person on the ground in the Gambia, but I think he's trying to join. Welcome, Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sawane, and thank you very much for having me as well, Mr. Sam and Mr. Jallo as well. It's always a pleasure to be here on this platform, and good afternoon to Gambia, because we are currently at the afternoon here. So,
thank you. All right, welcome, Omar Jallo. Omar, you are new to this. You come there, but I guess connection in the Gambia is having an issue. Yeah, Omar, welcome. Keep going. Oh, he's doing attire. Okay, that's good. I need a sip of that attire. All right, so we have another person, Hadi. Hadi also is joining. So I think this is going to be a great discussion. So Mohammed, we can just jump right into it, and then we can go around. Okay. Now, can you just tell us what this observation of this World Environmental Day, what it means, and then what are the logistics that's going to be on the discussion tomorrow with the observation of tomorrow event?
Yeah, World Environment Day is a very important day to we as an environmental advocate and also as a civil society in the Gambia that have been championing environmental conservation for years now. So this day definitely used to remind us some of the gaps that we could not achieve, and also some of the successes that we have so far achieved for the long run, and then we also always try to make sure that we align our ambition with the annual theme. Every year new themes are given, and this year theme is clearly stated on solution to address plastic pollution. So if you look within the Gambia Environmental Alliance, which is comprised of over 50 environmental groups, both civil society and community-based organization. So we have like a marine working group, these are that focus mainly on the coastal side. So basically what they do is like, every quarterly, in partnership with the government, that is the government parastate, that is Gambia Maritime Administration, National Environment Agency, and all relevant stakeholders like the local council, local government, I mean like Brikama Area Council, Cardiff Municipality, Banyu City Council. We normally collaborate with them in a quarterly session whereby we go to the big site to mitigate some of the marine debris that are found in those areas. So this year team that is in connection with what we are actually doing at the coastal side. So it shows that we are trying to use the amount of plastics, the amount of metals, the amount of any waste that are made by man and that are brought to the shoreline. So that could be a threat to our marine species. That could be a threat to our beach being healthy. So we normally make sure that we clean all those mess and make sure that, we quantified it, we quantify it in the sense that to know the amount of pollutant in that each site that we clean. For me, the site that I was located at Bigelow, or we call it the Senegambia stretch, that is from Lemon Creek going all the way to Monkey Park. We have cleaned over 20 tons of, marine debris, and then, we happen to take that. So imagine, so this exercise alone, every year, it helps, the nation, the Gambia, to at least clean a total of, let's say, 100 tons of marine debris are collected, starting from all the way from Bara, going all the way to Katong, because every site or every landing site is given a truck, and a truck that has a capacity of over 20 tons, is given there in terms of waste, in terms of marine debris. So that shows you that if you accumulate everything, it goes all the way to 100 tons of waste are collected based on our every quarterly activity that we did. But this year, what makes it so amazing this year in the Gambia is that this time around, it's not only focused on the marine side, because we make sure that, we synergize it, we integrate it with the National Cleanup Day. That is the system that we used to have in the former regime, has now been revived back. And now we call it now National Cleanup Day. So this National Cleanup Day, we come with different approaches. This time around, we don't force people to close their shop, don't force people to not to drive from 9 o'clock to 1 p.m. We make sure that, people do it at their own consent, people do it at their own free will, so that, they can participate. So far, that's why most of the time during this National Cleanup, people, that you see are basically doing it out of, their heart, in love of, being so patriotic to their country, and, make sure that at least they can do their quota. So this time around, we make sure that, we collated both the National Cleanup and the coastal cleanup. So we were at the coastal area, and then the military personnel, and then the Ministry of Climate Change and Environment was at the street, and then the National Environment, some of their agencies were also at the street. The military, the armed forces, our men and women that are in uniform were on the street, making sure that they clean most of our public eyesore areas, to make sure that they can at least, raise awareness and, reduce some of the significant amount of waste, because we fully understand that Gambia waste management is our biggest challenge. And we know that, all of us cannot fold our hands and then, not to do anything. But what we believe is that the more we do more action, then I think then that will at least, put, some sort of awareness in order, so that they can understand that, people are really concerned about the country to be clean. So obviously, people need to stop littering certain strategic location. People should not litter. When you have a waste, you either dump it inside your car, or until you find a waste bin, that's where you need to put the waste at. And if you go to the big site, wherever you found is clean, after using that area, you need to put a litter around that end. Please make sure after you are enjoying the picnic, having leisure at the big site, enjoying your picnic, please gather all the waste that you put there and take it home, or find another close nearby bin, and then you dispose it there. So this is the culture that we are trying to put forward, and make sure that, people, get to understand that this is the way forward, and this is how we can, transform this country to become a very beautiful and, a nice and clean country that we all want. Yeah.
Very good, very good, very good. Thank you very much for giving us that perspective of the whole exercise, cleaning exercise, and what it's used for, and all that. Yeah. So so just to get a deeper understanding, the cleaning up is to make sure that we don't have waste around, like plastics that could be causing some harm to the populace in the long run. Can you explain, like, what kind of repercussion we can face when we don't do the littering, when we don't collect these waste products?
Yeah, Mr. Sawani, I think that's a very important question, because we know that we, as environmental advocacy, and based on the science-based fact that we have been reading and we learn, we know that plastic can last for more than 200 years or more, based on the type of plastic, quality it is. So that's a huge, concern to, all of us, because we realize that, and secondly, if you know, like the Gambia, that is a, a least developed country, that is trying to develop, you understand that, we are so vulnerable when it comes to the natural phenomenon, like climate change. Sometimes the amount of rain cannot be predicted. So, but when those things happen, sometimes, flooding become a key factor that normally affect our society. And now, based on our fact finding, we understand that, some of the drainage systems that have been blocked is due to plastics because of the huge amount of waste accumulating at once. People, irregular dumping at strategic location is now causing another problem. And then we also realize as well that based on the waste that people litter, we have realized that there are certain communities in the Gambia, are having issue of when it comes to malaria. And we know how detrimental malaria is to our health. We also know that, based on the illegal dumping and as well as the waste that have been littered in those strategic areas is now causing flooding, and that flooding is also, serving as a site where, mosquito could, try to, thrive better and make sure that they affect the population. So these are all concerns. And then we also realize as well that, burning the plastic as well is not even a solution, because now we have other dump sites that are located within, residential area, like for example, the Bangore dump site. So the moment, you accumulate huge amount of plastics in the area, and then accidentally fire outbreak because of due to temperature rising. Sometimes the dump site is just burn and no one knows what caused it. But we believe that it happened to be sometimes due to the high huge amount of temperature, when it's overheat. And then when that happened, then the smoke that come out from those dump sites, normally affect the population around that area. So all these things are factors that, we have been looking into, and we deem that it is necessary, as a nation and as a, youth volunteer as well, for us to do something about these things. So that's why we are always in collaboration with the government to make sure that we address some of these challenges, so that, it will not continue to be a pressing, challenge. It will not continue to be a pressing natural phenomenon challenge, and it will not only also continue to be a pressing challenge on our economy as well. So, and then when we look at the marine side as well, we realize that plastic is also creating another detrimental issue in those areas as well, because recently we all saw what happened to our ferry. Our ferry, caterpillar, got stuck by, by fishing gears, and these are all made of plastic, because it was wrong, ditch in the sea, and we didn't care about it. And then when it happened to, affect our ferry caterpillar, then it was a concern. So all these things are, concern that we want to make sure that, we can mitigate. And also when you look at the species also that are found in those, in the river, in the ocean, you understand that, plastic could be a detrimental threat to them as well, for their own, the plastic that could be in the sea could be, it's a threat to their life. So obviously, all these things are concerned, and we know how vulnerable we are, and we know over 200 to 400,000 people in this country depend on fish as their chief source of protein. So obviously, and then we know that plastic is a threat to, the main source that we get, that is the fish, that plastic is a threat to them. So obviously, then this is something that, we are definitely more concerned, and that's why we are taking steps to make sure that we can address these things. Yeah. Sorry, you are muted. Your mic is muted, Mr. Sohani.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. I think we have someone, a guest called Hadi Jack. Hadi,
Hiya. Can you hear
yes.
me?
Yes, can we see your face for a minute?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, because I just downloaded, because I downloaded the app to my phone, so I'm just trying to,
Okay.
to get, go ahead, I'll get it sorted, and then I'll be on camera soon.
Okay.
But yeah, fantastic.
Okay.
Hearing all this.
We're gonna come back to you, Hadi. Yeah. So
Brilliant.
I would let Sam is entering in a basketball arena with his son. Sam, if you don't have time, we can come back, to you. Yeah, I think he got frozen. Maybe the network issue. Okay, so
Yeah.
what I would mention, what I would ask here is that plastic is detrimental to our fish, and it's detrimental to many things in the soil, because it doesn't decay. So that being, but that being said, it is very important that people know we need to recycle. What are the mechanisms and the educative? I mean, like the what are the mechanisms in place to sensitize Gambians in be able to taking care of your environment? I was I think I was in Bruceby the other day. I went to pray there. So when I was in the Gambia in December, and I had a mousse in my hand. I ate something and was hesitant to throw it in the floor. And I was with my brother. I said, my brother said, you keep holding this thing, in your hand, in this garbage, and then, get rid of it, throw it. I said, but where? He said, throw it anywhere. I mean, throw it here, on the ground. But I was hesitant because I'm not used to throwing stuff, like in the so it becoming being in America here for long. I mean, I feel guilty doing so. But my brother was tea is normal, throw it here. I mean, like heck, things are on the floor. Why not? So how could we bring sensitivity? I mean, sensitization in this area where we will be able to make everybody taking it as a responsibility, not to litter around. I think this is a key challenge right now, especially the kind of work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, it's a very, it's one of our biggest challenge anyway, because, if you understand, we as an advocate, we are, we don't have the force. We only have, the advice that we could give to citizens. They either take it, some will take it, some will not take it, some will even, do it anyhow they feel like. So, but I'm glad that, we have been working with government in this aspect to make sure that, they let them with a very good policy whereby, people could be charged for littering, certain things, whatever you litter, let it be charged so that, people can know that, whatever you do, there's responsibility attached to it. So, and secondly, I think, I think Gambia's not actually littering is something that's a mess because we all seen that the same Gambian that litter the street are the one coming again and complaining and saying the Gambia is that, the Gambia is this, the Gambia is that. And every day, you ask them, come and volunteer and we clean our own country. They were like, no way, I'm not going to do that. I have other business schedule to go for. I have other stuff to go for, and then, it's really sad, somehow this country, how, really, the people are, how our mindset, is really going. Sometimes you can be seeing, they will even someone clean whilst you are cleaning, others are the same time you cleaning, and they will not even hesitate to, litter in front of you. So I saw it as, as a way of, not only, sabotaging, anyway, it's a way of, sabotaging us, but like, we felt like, okay, you cannot force everyone, but like, but today, that the same person, if he or she happened to be in Europe, okay, will be so responsible because, like, he knows that, okay, I should not litter in this country. I need to keep this country clean. But, you come back at your own home where you are from, I think you should hold that area more precious, more happy. But like, it's always a different thing, Sam. Sometimes, you wonder, sorry, Sam, sorry, I mean like, Mr. Sawane, it's so worrisome to see that, how people, they've seen you clean and they can be still littering, So I think, if law start charging people, and what we want also is like, let the law also give the civil society organizations that are more environmentally concerned, let them be given like the power to make sure that they can also able to hold people accountable. Because if if the laws give us the mandate that we as a CSO that is working with the government, if we see someone doing something wrong, we can take you to police or we can call a police upon you so that you can be charged. Because like, we are really not ready to compromise that aspect. And, that's what we want to see. These are the kind of policy that we want to see. So that, if we happen to hold people that are doing something wrong, and the moment people start being charged, for their wrongdoing, I think they definitely then something positive will definitely start to yield from it. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Mohammed. So we're gonna allow our sister here to come in. She has been trying to get in.
Hello,
Yes.
everybody. Hi, my name is Hadi
Hi.
Jack. I live in London.
Hello, Hadi.
Hi Mohammed. I recently just connected with Mohammed because
Mm-hmm.
so I work for C40 Cities, which is a nonprofit that focuses on climate action and sustainability and all of that. So working with this organization, it's kind of like really put me in a space where I'm like, okay, we're implementing all these practices, but we need to kind of like do something in our country as well. Because I don't know, for me, I'm always like, oh, Gambia is so small, we're always kind of like seem to be at risk. We really need to kind of like push the people, educate them more. And it's funny what you said, Mr. Sawane, about you holding the your litter and not just wanting to chuck it. That happened with my mom years ago when she was in Gambia. She was walking around, had a Coke, was holding it, and then my aunt was like, "Why do you hold what? Why haven't you finished your drink? You've been holding it for 1 hour." She's like, "No, I'm just looking for like a bin." She's like, "No, just throw it anywhere." So yeah, so it's definitely a mindset that we need to work on changing. And I think in terms of like, the littering, with Gambians, I think with the majority, it's something they need to see like the physical thing there where they can kind of like action. So for example, having bins around, having big barrels, that will kind of like encourage them to, throw the rubbish in there rather than just chuck it everywhere. So I think they do need to be handheld a bit. There's a bit of educating that needs to be done. And as Mohammed put it, he's so eloquent and so like, articulate in his argument. So yeah, I think littering is such a big issue. But people need to we need to educate them on the repercussions of littering. It's not a benefit for anyone. In fact, it just makes things worse. It gets dirtier. You're inviting more insects and all these, rodents and stuff. So I think you kind of have to like be a bit like abrupt and just firm and just be like, okay, you can't be littering as you were. This is why I think we need to implement like, I don't know if you have like bins we can put out, like, we live in the Gambia, we're so resourceful, we have all the materials we need, we can make bins, like it's not a hard thing to do out of like metal scraps and all of that. So I think it's also using the resources we have and recycling them in a way where we can implement them and people can use them. And also with the plastic, that is a huge issue. It's not just polluting everywhere, but just the sea, the water, there's a knock-on effect on everything. So yes, I'm really excited to kind of like connect with Mohammed, like hear his ideas. He's really doing amazing work, I feel, from just connecting with him. Was it last week? So yeah, and also being in the job that I do, I work as a recruiter in C40 Cities. So I see a lot of like, movements, a lot of like discussions around this whole this whole thing that we're doing, that Mohammed's really working on. So yeah, that's from me for now. I think you're on mute.
Some will come. Thank you, Hedy, for that insight. So yeah, you are working. You also working on similar things in terms of environment, environmental work, and that's how you met Mohammed, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was so I work in that space, and it was really hard to connect with someone in the Gambia. First, I connected with someone from the tourism sector because I had lots of ideas, but that really didn't go anywhere. And then I remember last time I was in Gambia, they mentioned this ministry that they have. So I went into Twitter, and then that's how it linked me to Mohammed's organization. And then I just contacted him. I'm like, look, I'm here. I'm happy to work with you, give my time, volunteer, and just kind of like, help push this agenda. Obviously, I'm not in Gambia, so physically I can't do anything physically there. But you know, if it's like other bits and pieces, yeah, I'm happy to kind of like support.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that collaboration.
Yeah, actually, Mr. Sawane, that's how we have been operating. You know, we have series of people that are in the diaspora. You know, that's really want to do more in the environmental work. You know, as far as this alliance is concerned, Gambia Environmental Alliance, that's the whole goal, to make sure that we bring all concerned citizens abroad that are here to make sure that we are all in the same platform and they can continue to know what is the contemporary issue happening. And then we that are here on the ground and our legs are on the field, on the ground, on the field, on the field here, then we can able to to do some certain things that they cannot do outside there. We can go and reach the policymakers, reach the ministers, reach all the stakeholders, so that we can able to address things as one. Because if things work out right, it's for all of us. Because whenever we go home, we'll be like, oh, something that we are also proud to do. So this is it. They're all working voluntary, and I'm so happy that I've been doing this for 5 years now. And it's really amazing. Anytime you are thinking of giving up, you think about all the amazing work that you have been doing. It motivates you, not to give up, because like I have motivated over 100 youths that are now studying environmental science, that are now at the university. Others are now, they are like, no, we need to do this. I'm like, so that alone keep on making me not to give up like that. I'm like, okay, we need to keep on pushing, and that's why I'm glad progress is being made. Before with government, it was so challenging. We could not have that partnership, but now they themselves understand that, okay, these people are really trying to change. They are not only criticizing, but they are also doing a hand-on health job with us on the ground in Tansi. They are advising what we need to do, because we know the people on the ground. We know what is on the ground. We've been on the ground. We know what is affecting our key sectors, and therefore we are trying to advocate for proper reform in those areas, proper regulation in certain areas, and to make sure that policymakers understand this is what Gambians are concerned about. These things need to be addressed. So definitely that's how we get to connect with more amazing people like Hadi, and then we have series of them from the law school now. We are even having law students coming on board that are aspiring to become lawyers in environmental science. That shows you that we need all those capacity that we could get from every sector, so that we can able to because I myself, I'm not an environment student. I'm a biology student. So they are like, okay, how comes you're not even? I'm like, you don't need to be an environmental student, to to love nature, or to able to be passionate to do things right. Yeah. So I told them, well, biology student, but I'm so proud, the acting work that I've been doing in environmental side. So this is how we get to connect with the media, entrepreneurs, engineers, every aspect, because the environment needs all expertise, so that we can put up a very strong policy that could at least last for generations to come. Yeah.
Excellent. Wow. And there's a common saying that if we take care of the environment takes care of us. So
of course,
it is very important. And then and also one thing I observe is it cost conscious minds to really look around and see the importance of the environment. If you're not conscious, you will just ignore the environment. You just think things happen just for granted, but if you think through life, then you will know the importance of. So I give kudos to you guys for really, really caring about the environment. Yeah. My co-host is here, Sam, and then Famara will join shortly. So Mr. Sam Sisi, he's at the basketball game with his son. So if we can have a word to our guest here.
All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you all. Definitely, I'm at the game here, and my son's team is about to play. So I'll try to make this rather quickly, and then go watch him play. So, but anyway, first I do want to thank Hadi and Mohammed for really connecting in on this particular issue, because the more we have great minds come together, the better we're going to be as a country to fight environmental issues in our country. And I also agree with them on and with all the things that they said, because environment is very important. Even though I look at our environment as something that really needs education. I think Hadi also mentioned this. There should be education. The government should really take responsibility in educating people, and by radio and television services, commercials or advertisements where they advertise and show examples of where trash bins are and where people can put their trash in and not litter anywhere they want. And show examples and videos where people will go and clean up and pick everything and put them in trash cans, and trash cans will be labeled. They also should have signs along the beachside that says no littering, and kind of lead this whole thing to be able to help our environment. So I think the government need to take that responsibility, even with the tourism department. Our tourists come in to go to our beachside. They enjoy the beach. So even the tourism department can really put up signs and sponsor having dustbins or trash bins all over the beaches, where behind every hotel, to make sure that when people don't have a place to litter, they will throw their trash anywhere they can. But when they see trash cans everywhere and see examples of people walking up to them and putting their trash in there, and everyone becomes a fighter for the environment by preaching each other. And if you see even kids dumping trash anywhere, adults can say, hey, did you see the trash can? That's where you need to put it. So go pick it up and put it in the trash can. We set that example and lead by example, and all adults lead by example. I think is going to help send a strong message while the radio and television commercials or go on a weekly basis to really educate people. And we can really clean up Gambia real quick. But our government, unfortunately, does not spend money on where we really want them to spend money on. Instead, sometimes they spend money on things that really don't benefit the whole country. So that is a misfortune, I would say that. But we need to programs like this is one of those programs that they watch sometimes, and when they watch, hopefully they can hear us say all of these. We want them to spend their money on the people, not on themselves. That's what we need. If they do that, will help clean up our environment. And the largest thing I would say to end this here is I think the biggest environmental disaster that we have in Gambia along the coastline is the Chinese dumping the dead fish on our seashore. That is the largest one. That really creates that pollution, the bad smell. The bad smell in the neighborhood, in the environment, in the air, that forces people to breathe that, which is not good for them. So I think our government need to step up on that and work with the Environmental Agency, Protection Agency, to make sure that these Chinese people get monitored and they go after them and tell them, look, clean up or we will shut you down. That's what we need to do. We need to shut them down until they clean up. So, sometimes any contract you see in the world, contracts comes with obligations. They come with rules and regulations. And there are, in those rules and regulations, there are certain things that any company or anyone can do that will breach the rules of the contract. And when they have a breach of contract, they can take advantage of, the government can take advantage of that and really fine them, really fine them, hefty fine, millions, so they understand that this is important to us. Once they pay those millions, they will clean after themselves, because the next thing will be, the next action item will be, if you continue to do this, can result in the termination of your contract. If you threaten them with that, not necessarily a threat, but will be the reality, you tell them all of that, you put it in writing and hand it to the Chinese people, boy, they will straighten up. They will straighten up big time. If not, we have to do what we mean. We have to do what we said we're going to do. We go after them and shut them down. If it means put our whole army by the seashore and tell them to watch the Chinese not to fish here, do it. So to send a strong message to them that this is human beings. There are human beings that live around this area. Not only that, we have other tourists that come here also that want to visit our environment. We need to keep it clean. You can't do this in China. You can't do this in the United States of America. You can't do this anywhere in the world. Why would you do it in the Gambia? We hold them accountable, they will straighten up. So I think that's the biggest environmental damage that I see along the seaside, not in the country. Within the cities, that's a different story. That is the people. That's why I said the government need to take that responsibility, advertising television and radio stations to make sure that they educate with that said, thank you all. Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm gonna have to sign off here and go watch my son play basketball.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
I
Yep.
think also just on that, I think it's very, it's good to like have media visualization, but also to have it in the education curriculum, teach it in classrooms, have a course that they can teach in the
Environment,
schools.
exactly. Yeah.
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 So I think that's very good. Yeah. So I think that's
we can talk about all these ideas, great ideas, but when it comes to resources, right, for these things to take place, if you don't have the garbage bins all over the place, you don't have trucks that collects those bins to empty them on a regular basis, you don't have all the logistics, still people would feel like, okay, it's okay to show stuff everywhere. In order for us to really overcome the issue, there should be a resource availability.
Yeah.
You cannot just be, educating the people. You educate me, yes, I don't supposed to throw this over here. I supposed to, recycle, but there's no tool, there's no recycling bins.
There's no bins. There's nothing they can see.
There's nothing there.
They can physically see. So yeah.
And I seen other deposits around. So why not add it to that? Nobody will come and clean it. So it needs a really a whole operation to do this. First we have to be financially, there should be an allocation of fund, like Sam said. There should be a fund allocated, sufficient fund to have things deployed everywhere, just like in the West. I mean, any residential area, any place that people gather in the parks, there is some kind of a bin that is there, and those bins are collectible. They dispose them. They come and collect the trash, on at least weekly basis. So, but the Gambia is lacking this at this point. I think KMC is doing it at a steady rate. But beside that, you go to our areas in Baribu, other areas, and even some places in Brikama and other areas, we're still seeing people throwing things everywhere, and then especially in the coastal areas. Yeah. So what do you guys think need to be done?
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me, it's sorry, go ahead, Mohammed. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank
It's
you.
a discussion. Yeah, it's a discussion as well.
For me, it's very bizarre that that we have this lacking in Gambia. Maybe I'm a bit too naive, but we don't necessarily need to go out and buy like 10,000 bins and put it across the country or city or borough or whatever. We are very resourceful in Gambia, and people are so talented. You give someone, I don't know, like I said, metal or like scraps, they can literally mold something out of it and make it, whatever you want. So for example, in this instance, like a bin, So I feel like the resources are in the country. So maybe it's something that we kind of like need to kind of like just action on our own rather than depend on like outsiders to bring in bins or that. So maybe if like, we were to approach whatever policymaker or whatever section of the government and be like, look, You know, it's not difficult. You know, it's not a hard job for you to kind of like sit down, plan out, say, okay, we need to kind of like get this made. So for me, that's always the idea I have around like Gambia. It's like we're so resourceful, we're so artistic, you know, we can literally make anything. The resources are there. Even with like the leftover plastics, there's so many things you could do with like plastic itself, recycling, melt it down, mold it, you know. So yeah, I think maybe perhaps it might be good to kind of like look within the materials we have and how we can kind of like, and also it empowers the people in the country as well, if they were able to kind of like, you know, get some into work to kind of, and you know, utilize their skills in this kind of way. Yeah, sort of like an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think yeah, I think Hadi, you know, you have a point there. So for me, what I was thinking is like, I think, you know, the political will is very important if you want to address, you know, waste pollution, you know, because the waste management situation here, you know, if you look at most of our, our local government, you know, we have a local government ministry that normally works with the local council to make sure that, they facilitate some of the needs of the, the council after their tax collection. So I think, we really, would like the local ministry need to have an expertise that firmly understand, waste management. So one, the capacity in that sector is really missing because even to deal with most of these area council, the only thing that they think of is like, we go and collect the waste, we go and dump it. We go and get this X, we go and dump it. So, but like, when you look at it in a holistic way, then you understand that, they don't have like an action plan. Like, how are we going to go about, let's say like in the first year, we introduce this sector, the waste management sector. In the next year, we introduce another sector of the waste management. Even with this cleaning exercise that we are doing quarterly basis, I normally have an argument. I'm like, we cannot continue doing this clean all the time. We have done this thing like, for a while. Now the next approach needs to be like, let's come up with a law and say that all the shopkeepers that are located along the, the public, ISO areas that are on our highway, let them have a dustbin at their shops.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because then the moment you do that, then you can evaluate. Then you can evaluate and say that, okay, maybe after them getting a bin, every shop on the public highway, then if those one get a bin, then the next of them, maybe then the amount of waste that we will have collect will be less. And then then we can able to assess. But like, you imagine, like, you go to all the other regions, like let's say for say like Brikam, I think the central government need to play a key role here. If I thought the central government need to make sure that every area council, every local government is at least given a subvention to make sure to let them buy, a waste collector truck. At least let's say each region, let them have like 3 as a start, 4 trucks, 4 comparo trucks as a start. Then from there, then we can able to see how are we going to strategize the logistic. I think the resources are available. I completely agree with you. But it's a matter of them having the capacity to know how to do some of these things, because most of them are more administrative oriented. They are not that technically oriented. And then we have to differentiate these things. To be administrative oriented and to be technically oriented is completely different. You being technically oriented, you will understand that how you can manage the waste issue. But like sometimes being administrative oriented, so you are only focused on not getting more expert, but you are busy on securing, getting people that only work within the administrative sector. Gambia have passed that level. We need people that have the technical skill to be given the opportunity so that they can transform our municipality. So that's how, that's why KMC is now making progress, because, their waste director is so ambitious and he understands, the strategy, because now, people don't need to be doing things for free. Like, if the moment they have a waste collector, they are contributing something, and that fund can be used again, be generated back to the the public, in the sense of like acquiring new trash bin, acquiring new waste collector, and also to manage the way the waste is dumped. So I think for me, my concern is like, let them have a an action plan that could put technician at the heart of it. Just like, for example, I always use Senegal as an example. Dakar used to have, a huge, waste challenge. But, based on my study, how Dakar is addressing it is now getting more faster, compared to the way Gambia is addressing. Because Senegal, what they did was like, Dakar, their waste management, even the local council is there, but government hire a private sector. It hire a private sector, and that private sector is employing the youth as well.
Yeah.
And in that private sector, they are giving the project, they are collecting the waste, and they are also measuring they segregate the waste. So they also transfer some of the waste into organic manure. They transfer some of the other stuff into things that could be recycled. So meaning that the private sector will be more focused, because of the local government or the local council have a lot of responsibility at their hand. Because for them, it's not only about the waste management. All the challenges that they need to make sure that municipality or the area that they are covering or the region they are covering, fulfill all those needs. So if I thought that a new sector, or that's why I say it needs to be part of the political will, so that we can able to, have this. We need, like, next year election, we need to have someone that say that in my 5-point agenda, waste management is there, and this waste management agenda, this and that and that and that I'm going to do. But all the elections that I have seen in the Gambia since I started voting, even the council, but you hardly hear any of them telling us about the waste management issue. They are more focused on telling us something that anyway, I think this is what I think need to be looked into. Yeah.
Thank you.
100%. I think. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Hadi.
No, I was just gonna say, having an expert in whichever field, advising, I think that's a really good point. Having an action plan in place, someone who can monitor progress and, just put in their ideas. So I feel like even in Gambia, there's so many people who are who are experts in their own field, that can definitely contribute to this course. So good point.
Yeah, so thank you guys. I have Yam Famara join us now. Famara, can you see you? I know he just came from work.
Yes, Sawane, can you hear me?
Yes. So thanks for joining, and we have Hadi and Mohammed and Sam was on, and also Mr. Omar Jallo.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mohammed and Hadi. I was listening to the conversation. I think Mohammed is right. Yeah, Mohammed is right, because in Gambia we don't have a waste management strategy. That strategy will help the National Environment Agency, to monitor and supervise what the area councils are doing. Because if you look at the National Environment Management Act, the power NEA has to supervise or coordinate waste management in the country is very huge. So because of that, example, cannot hold KMC accountable if they do not manage their waste properly. So, but if we have a waste management strategy, that strategy will tell what the council's roles and responsibility are clearly. And if they fail to do that, then we can say, hey, you're not doing this, and then, we're going to hold you accountable for that. Then the council will be able to do their job, And then we have even like what the national that we are doing now. Now it is even better, because we are getting a lot of stakeholders and the youth organization getting involved. But in the normal circumstances, it shouldn't even be the NEA, trying to coordinate these things. We need to make sure the councils are responsible directly and they do these things the way it should. And then if you look at it also, we are investing a lot of time and energy, just like Mohammed said, because we are doing beach cleaning, we are doing cell every time. But we are not investing time on recycling and also reusing some of these waste that we are using. If we do the same time of equivalent, because you go and clean this month, you go clean quarterly, but you go back to the same area, it's been filtered again. So this means that there is something wrong. Either we are not spending much time on recycling those materials. If we have a recycling plan and teach people how to recycle, ensure that there is enough waste bins in the area, and also making sure that the councils are collecting those waste. then that way the waste will be reduced instead of spending money and time and human resources, every quarterly to get the whole population come out, to participate in beach cleaning. So we do that, and you take those waste to the waste, the waste collection plants, but they are not being recycled, and then some of them, end up coming back. And then in beach cleaning, we see that sometimes we even buried some of those waste. So at high tide, or maybe when erosion comes, those wastes are exposed back again. And then, they go back into the ozone, polluting the environment again. So I think this is something we have to really come up as a nation and address this, the gap that is in our policies and laws. So once we do that, obviously, it will help a great deal. A lot of efforts have been made recently, and then we are seeing the councils are coming up with their own waste management strategy, and we have also seen recycling being done, to create compost as a manure for agriculture and vegetable garden, which are all very, very good. But obviously, there is a gap in our policy and laws, and unless we do that, obviously, it's going to be hard to overcome waste management strategy challenges. And then anti-littering law is there too. And then these laws are not being enforced because still people are discharging liquid waste from their compounds or from their businesses to public streets or public roads or even public areas. So we need to ensure that too, that is also being controlled. That way we can, collectively, reduce the waste in the country. But so far so good, yes. Thank you so much, Mohammed, and everything on the coastal cleanup exercise. And we're seeing that it's becoming quite popular, and a lot of youth are getting involved, which is very, very good. And I think, I hope that this will continue. That way we can, hold our councils and the government accountable, in enforcing the law part of it. Yeah.
Thank you, Mfamara. Thank you for that. I just want to poke into a few things here. So before we wrap it up, the first thing is the fact that we have the technical, to have the technical people in these strategic areas who they have the managerial knowledge, but they don't have the technical ideas to be able to create these things, like let's say dustbin. I remember one time I had a discussion with Talib from KMC Mayo. He was able to explain to me how youths in this area, he even showed me when I went to see him about that, how they creating dustbin from I think from from tires or something like that, some other stuff. And then he showed me a sample of that. So they're creating locally. There are local things we can use to create a dustbin that is usable, reusable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So these are ideas that need to be taught in these councils, or that need to be this people need to come up with, instead of even ordering dustbin from Europe or elsewhere, or big or asking people to give you. Our youths can create some of these things. We have abundance of materials in Africa or in the Gambia where we can use this. So Talib started that project, and I don't know how far that is. I don't have all the details in it, but when I had a visit with him, he showed me that, and he showed me the picture of some of those. So that's one area that, I think our councils and our local government should be looking at. Now, the bigger picture is that once we have those bins, how can we maintain collecting those bins, emptying them to a bigger, truck, and having to dump it somewhere? And how do we process those ones that are dumped? Because they're going to somewhere also. They're just not gonna be sitting there. I mean, eventually, if everything is getting dumped here, that place become what? That need to be processed too. How do we process that? See what happened to Bakote dump site, where still KMC, they're trying to take care of that area so that the burning and stuff like that. I live around that area. When that burning happens, I suffocate. My family lives there. It's not good for your lungs. It's not good for your body, to inhale those, smokes. Every time I drive, I mean, I go out. By the time, I leave my door, I'm already smelling these things, it's very inconvenient. So, wherever these things are dumped, I don't know where right now, you guys can tell me, but beside Bakote dump site, there must be a place in Gambia where some of these waste are dumped. And how are they processed? All those are important, because it must be an environment that people live around, or at least, whatever happens, people will come around that area. So these are all the things that I think you working in the field should be, questions that you should be really, getting answers for, or probably, brainstorming around, so that, the stakeholders could be able to give us, a better idea how to protect our environment. It's one thing to throw, but it's one thing what is collected to process and then to recycle. And Barbara mentioned the recycling process. That's another deal that we need to look at. How can we reuse some of these things? If it is a bottle, how can you clean it and then put it in the market? Again, because there must be a machine that would clean this bucket, make sure it's not infected, and then process it again. So instead of trying to decompose this, it can be reused. So all this is a lot of education in this area, a lot of education, a lot of knowledge sharing, a lot of collaboration, a lot of political will, a lot of stuff in this area. So it's so sad to see that we don't see this in our politicians, their agendas, the environment as a top priority. It's very sad, because if you don't have a proper environment, definitely you're not going to have a proper life. Our environment, dictates how long we live, how comfortable we live, and all of that. So that's my really areas that I want to poke in, different areas that I poke in. If any one of you who are the experts has any ideas or answer to those, probably you can come in, and then we can just wrap it up. I know it's a lot that I spoke about, but I just wanted to put it together. Yourself, Mohammed, Hadi, and Famara, you are experts on this area. So perhaps you can see how all these areas we can do a better job. Again, the collection is one thing. We can enforce that through probably having fines and then re-educating people and creating our own dustbins. That's one. But also, how do we process and where? And then and how do we recycle things that are reusable? And and then what are the costs involved in, and how is the political will can be involved in this? So yeah. Mohammed, you want to come on, Pamara or Hari?
Yeah, Mr. Suari, I think you have touched a very key important areas, and I would just like to intervene in certain areas, like the issue of the local being made here. That was a great things to be done, but I think after creating that bin, there was a miscalculation, because the KMC municipality didn't foresee that their logistic in terms of how often will they be able to collect those those higher bins that were strategized in all the public area from here all the way to Tapokoro. So I think that was their major challenge, because later on the tire can go all till it's full, but it was never collected. So it was something that was adding another challenge. So it's a good initiative, because that's what we want. We want many local stuff to be made. So and then and I think it even inspired people like myself to even to create a bin that I made, could take all the up to 10 tons of waste, because of I know that the logistic collection of our area council can be sometimes disappointing. So at least create a bin that could at least take a while, that before it could get filled, like let's say like 1 week before it could get fill up, so that, you know, the area council could have better preparation and they can come for the next week and come and empty it. So in that duration, you know, after creating that bin, you know, the bin have been created, but, you know, the idea was that, you know, local councils, stakeholders can at least, you know, improve on that project so that they can have it in strategic area, having it all the most strategic areas where they think that a lot of waste can be generated there. Because of, if you realize that the plastic bin that we are talking about, that one, you know, that we normally import, you know, it's very easy and very light, can be easily be stolen, one, and two, it gets filled very, and it's less than 10 tons. And then secondly, it does not even help in the terms of, you know, if you want to separate the waste. So meaning then it's always allow more of like compiling the entire waste and putting it in one bin. So it also prompted why we created, you know, the segregated bin that we put at the coastal side. But that was a pilot project to see how committed are the municipality going to look and put themselves in this project, because we involved all of them since in inception. But, you know, you realize that sometimes, you know, it's so sad. Gambians don't want to see Gambian youth, you know, I don't know how it is done. Anyway, I'm not very good at how they do some of their lobbying, but sometimes it's so wonder you create something, you know, after creating that bin. I'm not an engineer, but like, I love, you know, technical stuff because I did technical drawing since I was high school, and I, you know, I have that you know, that compassion of, you know, drawing stuff. So I happen to design this local bin and then take it to the welder man. We get secure funding from Kika, you know, we allow them to develop it. Everything is nice, built. After doing the launching, you know, the key stakeholder that you expect them to be emptying this bin, you know, it's becoming a threat. You even take the waste all the way to the dump site. Imagine you helping to fulfill their responsibility. You take the waste to the dump site, yes, still they will say that, you know, our tricycle guy have to pay. I'm like, you know, what kind of partnership are we doing that? Because I'm not earning anything from this. We are just doing this thing to make sure that we complement your effort. So sometimes, you know, this become, you know, another challenge. I think, you know, we need to have a level ground whereby, you know, sometimes those people that are at the top, they don't know what is happening on the ground. You know, maybe they will have their director of service, you know, that is trying to block some of this initiative not to reach the head somehow, you know, sometimes. But like, it is so disappointing, you know, it's not really encouraging. You doing a lot of stuff to make sure that you could add to be part of the development of your country or the development of your own area council, or, you know, yes, still those initiatives are not being improved, or those initiatives are not taken seriously by our municipality. So it's always something that, you know, is not encouraging. And then moving forward, you know, to see some of these things, you know, I think, you know, as well, Pamela say, you know, recycling, you know, while recycling is not having so much impact in this country, is because of, you know, the amount of waste that Gambia generates is not that profitable. If you look at it, when you look at, you know, our most of our waste that we generate in the Gambia here are all organic waste. Most of the waste, the highest percentage of our waste that we generate are all organic waste. We could say that Gambia generate over, let's say, 60 to 70% of our entire waste is all organic waste. So only 40 to 30% are, you know, plastics. And these plastics, you know, you come and look into it, you know, then the kind of recycling institution that need to be built for this sector, you know, is also another concern. That's why still now, you know, after so many surveys being done with so many institutions trying to bring recycling, they cannot still achieve their goal because of the amount of waste that they are foreseeing. You know, it's not something that, you know, they can, you know, recycle properly. You only need a small scale institution, like let's say like the Human Initiative, that could take tires, that could take shoes, you know, order some of these trash and then try to transform it into something useful. But like a whole institution to be built for like this is not that very much marketable right now. So I think, you know, the main concern thing that is, you know, our main challenge as far as waste management is concerned is the issue of, you know, having, you know, proper waste, you know, bin, and also having proper, you know, collectors to make sure that, you know, they can able to collect and then also able to take the waste at, you know, to make sure that let the waste be there to have over duration. So that is, I think these are the things that, you know, I myself have seen, you know, and I believe these are most of our key pressing concern that we really definitely I could add to what you have just shared. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. That's a great effort there. And I agree with you that the bins that this light bins that are imported, is not as strong as these ones that you guys created manually. And then and those ones are durable. And we shouldn't feel being threatened by another group that is doing those initiatives. Instead, collaborations, and then knowing that people are doing this to help elevate the community they live in. So that's a good point. Yeah, Vamara and Hadi, if you guys might poke in, like answer any of those things that I mentioned in terms of like how the processing is done, and in order not to be making the same errors, because you collect all these garbage bins. I mean the garbages, and then where are they going? I mean, like how are they processed? Do you guys have an idea? Because it could cause problems to people over there too. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Gambia in December, there were a lot of waste disposal near where I was staying. So in the evening, burning everything. It was horrible. But just to mirror on what Mohammed said, I think he's on point with all the factors that he pointed out. So yeah, so I think it just goes back to I think having good project management, laying down speaking with the lawmakers, the policymakers, and just just educating people. So I think, yeah, good points on what Mohammed's saying.
And having some funds too, right? I mean, you guys, Mohammed is a, is an organization, right? I mean, he need more funding as well, and other organizations who are doing this work.
Yeah.
So they support, the political support, and then the good heart donors should also be considering this as a very important thing for our environment. Yeah. Vamara, what do you have? Any last thing on this? So we wrap it up.
Thank you, Sawan. I think there is area you touched was very important, like the private sector involvement in waste management. I think it's very key because, like you see here in America, it's usually the private companies that are collecting waste from our apartments, and then of course, the landfills belongs to the county, so the county is responsible for managing the landfills, and then these private waste collectors or waste companies, they have options to either use the county landfill, or maybe they can go somewhere else. But I think the private involvement is very key. And then, that's going to help the councils in terms of managing the waste, because now we are every, household have to pay a certain amount. Like here, we are paying like every $10 every month for collecting waste, in our area here. So when we get the private sector involved, and then the communities and the people or the citizens are sensitized on how to sort out their waste, will also help a lot. I know it is very expensive, trying to, separate your waste. But just like Mohammed said, greater percentage of the waste collected in Gambia are all organic. So our focus is going to be how to, reuse those organic waste, turn into manure that we can use in our agriculture or in our vegetable gardens. That will also reduce the amount of, chemical fertilizers that the government is, importing, and then that will also be good for environment, because like I was listening to Mohammed's interview yesterday in one of the TV stations, because those chemicals or those fertilizers we are using, they end up going into our aquatic systems and then polluting the water bodies and then killing the biodiversity. So if we are producing more organic waste, I think our efforts should also go into educating people how to reuse those organic waste. That way we don't throw out everything. We can in fact reuse it again, save us some money. You don't need to buy fertilizer for your backyard, a garden. If you are growing some vegetables in your back garden, you don't need to go and buy fertilizer. You can use those organic waste. And also one of the challenges we've seen in municipality, and you mentioned it like KMC, the dump site in Bakote. when that dump site was being created, that time people were not settling around that area. But now the whole area is settled now. So once they started burning the Bakote children, place there, and the school, the environment is all polluted. And even the same to West Coast region. West Coast region, we are having a problem with land at this point in time, with this infiltration of real estate companies buying land everywhere, and now people land become money. Everybody, communities are now selling their land. So dump sites are even becoming a problem in West Coast region.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming a problem. We don't even now the council, if they need a bigger area for landfill, they have to buy off this land from communities. And this is the right time to do so, because otherwise real estate companies are settled everywhere. It becomes difficult, and then population is increasing, the waste is generating, we have to find a way out, to do that. But I think that's a big concern, definitely. Otherwise we might have to transport our waste to the rural areas, in Kiang and Fonyi.
And
So those
Badibo.
areas they have big land now. So if combo we cannot, do those things, we have to, take our waste out there. It's going to be very expensive. But also you
Yeah,
look at the liquid waste. The liquid waste, we are flushing water from our bathrooms and our toilets. Where do they go? Our, in our manholes and other areas. Now, okay, you have some people come and take those waste and then take it to Kotu Creek, and those wastes are not properly treated. And then some of those wastes end up in our mangrove ecosystem, in the coastal areas where we use for swimming. So raw sewage. And people are getting in contact with those research. So that could be a disease outbreak, killing biodiversity. A lot of fish are going to be affected. I mean, so there is no effective waste management, in that area as well. So it's a big gap there, obviously. So it's a big challenge. But in whole, like you're saying, I think we need private sector involvement, so that we help the counties and also help the government in terms of managing this area. So thank you so much, and thank you, Hadi, and thank you, Mohammed, for your time again. And then happy World Environment Day tomorrow. And just like the theme for this year is beat plastic pollution. So we have to find a way of managing our plastic waste. I was in Sweden and I was in Denmark. Those areas, like these Coca-Cola plastic bottles, if you have it, people don't throw it. Even this can, because it's money. So you go and put that in a recycle bin somewhere, you get like a 50 cent back if you recycle your plastic bottle. So now citizens are still, a lot of African communities, they go around on the street with their plastic bags, collecting these bags, because the more you collect, you can collect like 20 to 50 soda cans. You go there, you get €5 a day. So it's like an employment opportunity for some people. They use it as a part-time. If they are not working, they are off. They go around the city looking for these empty cans. You go back and you get €5, €10 a day for collecting it, because there are specific areas in the city where there is a machine. You go and drop one Coca-Cola can, it gives you 5 cents. You drop another one again, it gives you 5 cents. In a whole, you might collect €5, €10 a day. So these are all mechanisms that's keeping the city clean. So nobody throw out that can anymore. So you drink it, you buy your soda from your vending machine, you drink it, you go and take it to the recycling bin, you get at least something back. So when people go for picnic, you know, people gather those waste, they don't throw it, you know?
And
So
and
I
then,
think those
and you know how much money that would save from people finding, you have to employ somebody to go and look for these cans and stuff like that. So
exactly.
that's even saving money, from
Yeah, just
the
like in Gambia, people are going around collecting these metal, scrap metals and silver. We see those one too. Even the kids are even busy collecting it because they know somebody is coming to buy it from them. So those kind of incentive, if we have it, people will take care of their waste. And this is what we need to encourage people to do. And then that way we can help the government and the county in terms of waste reduction. Yeah, but thank you so much, Sawane.
Thank you. Final words, Mohammed and Hadi.
Well, I would just like to thank this platform as always because it was a pleasure to be here and to be talking to the audience out there that is also listening to us. Thank you very much. And just like how Farmer said, to wish everyone, happy World Environment Day, and in the sense that please be conscious enough not to be litter in the street and make sure that do not cut our trees in the forest, and also be trying to be part of the solution in every summer. Go and plant 1 or 2 trees, in open areas. It's something that we all can do at our own cost. So we are encouraging every citizens and to make sure that, we always make sure that whenever we see anyone litter, we just advise. And that's the only thing that we can do. But the moment we can advise 1 or 2 or 3 people, I believe as the time goes on, many people will be oriented. So that's how we can change the mindset. So definitely this is what I have to share with the general public. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Hadi, final words?
It was nice meeting you all. And yeah, I look forward to connecting more and and learning more as well. So no, it was a really great discussion. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Hadi, where are you based?
I'm in London.
In London, okay.
Yeah.
Another clean city though. I was fined 75 pounds for dropping a liter in Manchester. I'll never forget that. So they had a public library. So back in the days, I was a student in the UK for 2003, 2004. Then I moved over to Manchester in 2004. Then that time I don't have a computer, I don't have an internet in my house yet. So I usually go to the public library to go to use the computer. So when you go to the public library, so to use a computer, they give you a small piece of paper with a code that you can use for a computer for a period of time, like 1 hour or 2 hours. Then I had this piece of paper, they wrote a code for me. I used the computer already. After finishing it, I had the piece of paper in my hand. I roll it up, as soon as I walk outside the public building, I think I mistakenly dropped it or I don't know what happened. But there was this guy there standing, I think he's one of those city council officers, enforcement officers. So he saw me drop a litter and he walked to me, he said, "Sir, you dropped a piece of paper." Oh, I say, "I'm sorry." He said, you are against, you have violated the laws. And instant, he gave me a fine of 75
Oh my
pounds that I
God.
have to pay within 30 days.
Yeah.
And I tried to explain myself about it. He said, "No, there is no excuse. You violated it. You violated it." And then he took my details and then my address and every information because I'm obliged to give it to him anyway. So I was fined $75, 75 pounds. So you can imagine if we have those law enforcement in Gambia, where the Chinese fish meal companies are polluting raw sewage into the ocean, or maybe you have a business or hotel that doesn't have a treatment plan in their hotel, maybe all their waste is being discharged in the ocean, because we have seen that happening too. Oh, you have some people just dumping, everywhere. So if we enforce those that, but now you cannot do enforcement properly in Gambia because one, you don't provide them the opportunities to recycle or to even collect waste. Some will say, "Well, we are paying tax to the city council, but they don't even provide a dustbin, or they are not even collecting. So where do we go? Or there is no landfill close to me. Where do you expect me to put my waste?" You understand? So you cannot hold them accountable. So that's why it's important we have all that in place so that people don't have excuse of throwing their waste. If they are paying for their waste, collect it. If they are not collecting it, then we hold the council accountable. And if NEA is also doing monthly sensitization, they should be occupying GRTS, they should be occupying FATU network and KERFATU every week to have at least environmental program, to say, educate the citizens. Maybe NEA come with GEA on the platform, say every Saturday. All right? We don't have to wait until quarterly cleanup exercise to do cleanup, but at least during that time, between every quarterly, you do 1 or 2 week of program, come with GEA on the platform. GEA has a lot of environmental NGOs registered with them. All right? They can go around, have an environmental program in Tunjur, go to Banjul, go to Bara, you go to Nyumi, do those kind of sensitization. You go to car parks and ferry crossing landing sites, educate people how to manage waste. Then that way people will slowly getting in. Of course, schools have already started incorporating environmental programs. So that is also helping. So we need a lot of sensitization. So thank you, guys. We have a lot of work to do, but slowly we are getting there. And I think this will help us a lot in the long term. So happy World Environment Day to you all. So let's all did our part. I think New Gambia platform will do a tree planting exercise this year in the rainy season. We can choose a community, even if it's going to be like 10 or 20 things, we can donate it to GEA, we can donate it to any organization, and they do a planting on our behalf. New Gambia platform, great. A tree planting exercise in Banjul, Serekunda, or anywhere.
Yes, that's a great idea.
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, our viewers. And we definitely appreciate share the program with everyone so people can really learn from this. I thank you guys, Mohammed, Hadi, Vamara, Sam, and Omar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Catch you later. All right, take care. Bye.